Hi everyone, I'm Annie Thomas, representing Group 9 for BDAT1004 Data Programming Final Project. So here we are going to demonstrate the web application we have created, that is weather at major cities. So our team consists of 3 members, myself, Al Rehnas and Mons Michael. I have worked as developer and project manager for this project. I have an overall 6 years of experience in IT industry. I have worked as a QA analyst as well as mainframe developer. Al Rahnas, she has worked as data analyst for this project. She has programming experience of 2 years. And Mons Michael, he was in the role of business analyst, and he has an experience of 6 months in the as an analyst. This is the homepage of our web application. We have developed it in Flask and deployed it using Heroku. This is the homepage. It shows the temperature in Celsius at major world cities, namely New York, Toronto, Sydney, London, and Delhi. And also we have separate tabs showing each city's status. So first one is Toronto, Canada. The local, the date and time, condition, if it is a clear sky or if it is cloudy. Temperature in degrees Celsius, humidity, precipitation, wind, and pressure. So all these details are being displayed. This is current weather of Delhi. Moderate or heavy rain with thunder, that is a condition, and temperature is displayed. Also humidity, precipitation, wind, and pressure. Similarly, we have tabs for New York, London, and Sydney. Next is the timeline of the project. For this project, our very first step was to find an API and get the data from the API. So we selected the weather API for the input. This is the weather API which we accessed. So we had to log in and create an account. So once we copy this API key, we can go to the API Explorer. I'm giving the API key, and here it is a value field as the city name. I'm giving it as London. So once we click show response, this is the API call. Response code is 200, it means it is success. And this is the response body. So our API, this weather API, shows the current weather of this particular city. So the name of the city is London, country, latitude, longitude, time, date and time, and current temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit. It also has other details like wind, pressure, precipitation, humidity, etc. So this is API which we have used, and we have collected we have used the data for 5 different cities. So this is the weather API. Next step was loading the data from the API to Python. So for that we have used the Python code. Here, this is the code block for connecting to the MongoDB, and then these are the API calls for each city, that is New York, Sydney, Toronto, and Delhi, and London. These are the API calls for each city, and we are storing that data, and this is the part we are inserting into the MongoDB. So in order to store the data, we created an account in the MongoDB Atlas, and in the MongoDB we created a cluster and a database named WeatherDB. This is the collection named Toronto, and we have used Python to get the data from the API and then load it into the MongoDB. So here we are connecting to the MongoDB, and this is the code for inserting the data into the MongoDB. db.toronto.insert_1 New York. So this data will be inserted to the MongoDB. So if you see, you can see if you see here, this is the records. These are the records. This is the data for New York. All these details like temperature, humidity, pressure, everything is there. Similarly, we have data for Sydney, London, etc., Toronto, etc. Okay. Then that was step 3. After that, we created visualizations. For creating the visualization, we used Google Charts, and the code used was Flask. So these are the code blocks for Flask application. So we have created a home page where all the details, where all the cities, temperature in Celsius will be displayed. Then we have created 5 separate tabs for each city, which displays humidity, precipitation, wind, and pressure. So this is the code block for that. This is for Toronto. This is Delhi, New York, and for similarly for Sydney and London. And this is the home page. This is code for home page. Here you can see like we have used the Google Charts code for. We have used the gauge chart, and this is the coding for that part. We have created separate tabs for separate pages for each city. This is for London. This is for New York, Sydney, Toronto, and Delhi. So this is the code part. And for HTML, we have used the CSS. We have CSS code for background fonts, etc. It's a background image we have used. And this is the code. These are the CSS codes which we have used. Then, so once the visualizations are created, our app was working fine in the local host. I will run it. So this is the, so here we have just printed the, to make sure that the data is loading correctly. And this is the link for the website. So this was working fine in the local host. These are the 6 tabs, 6 tabs for our web application. So once it was working fine, we decided to deploy it to the deploy into the cloud. So we used Heroku to deploy to the cloud, like using a Git bash, and then we deployed it. After that, next step was to create an API. We have data in MongoDB, and we created an API to get the data from that database, which is an API which is accessible for everyone. So for that, we use MongoDB Run. So these are the APIs which we created. It's a web API, which is it is a very simple one. It displays first 10 rows in that DB, weather DB Toronto. So I have checked it in Postman as well. So this is the request, and once we click send, it returns to 100, and also the first 10 rows are being displayed. We also tried to create another API which filters the city, which filters the data by city name, but it was not working, and due to time constraints, we couldn't work on it anymore. So we have loaded the data using the API, and Python was the code which we used. Data format was JSON. The response from the API, it was in JSON format. Next, in MongoDB Atlas, we created a MongoDB Atlas cluster, and then we connected the MongoDB Atlas using in Python using PyMongo module. That was the package we deployed, and this weather data is being uploaded to the database. This is the application homepage. So this is the URL, weather project BDAT.herokuapp.com. This is a web page which we deployed into the cloud. You can see that it displays the temperature in 5 major cities: New York, Toronto, Sydney, London, and Delhi. So these are the gauge charts which we have used. We also tried to implement the Google Maps. We have an option to in we have a we have an option to implement the maps as well, but we faced issue while using the API key for Google Maps. It was not working, and due to time constraints, we had to leave it at that and stick to the gauge chart. This is the page for Toronto. This is the second tab, Toronto. You can see that there is it displays the city, country, time, time and date, condition, which is clear or cloudy or something like that. Then temperature will be displayed in degrees Celsius. And we have gauge charts for humidity, precipitation, wind, and pressure. Next tab is Delhi. For Delhi, also similar information like city, country, date and time, condition, temperature, and other parameters. Same thing we have deployed for New York, London, and Sydney. So for Google chart visualization, we have used gauge chart. And for web page design, we have used HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So API was created in order to load the data, get the data from MongoDB Atlas. It was created using MongoDB RAM, and it is also accessible using Postman. So this is a screenshot of the DP which we have created. This is the weather API which we created. It takes the first 10 rows from the data. This is the demonstration of the API in the Postman. That's all. Thank you.